Hey Wi-Fi Lifers Facebook, tuning in for day 5 of my video challenge, and today for day 5 I am going to actually discuss something that I wasn't planning on discussing. I had a topic all ready to go until I went for a meeting this morning with my financial performance coach. I believe that's what he calls himself, and he's awesome, and he's someone who I've recently started working with a view to cranking up my financial performance, funnily enough. And following a meeting with him this morning, so I've relocated to Australia recently. I've got some money in the bank and I am ready to set myself up. I am looking at investing in property over here. Really want to start growing other income streams alongside my business. Very much still focused on my business. Want to look at growing other income streams, want to look at growing wealth as opposed to just getting rich, as they say, looking at the longer term future, things like that. So I've got some money in the bank and ready to think about investing. So with that in mind, I was talking to him about the possibility of getting mortgages, and I've been talking to another financial advisor as well, a broker, looking at my position. Now, being a new resident, as it were, in Australia and not having any kind of credit history, it's going to be very difficult as a self-employed person to prove my income and my earnings. I've only got one full tax return in the UK of what I've been making in my business. I have nothing over here other than cash in the bank. I don't have anything I don't have any tax returns over here. I've never had credit cards in Australia. So there is only one way I am going to qualify quickly for a mortgage. And I'm pausing because I'm guessing if you're watching this video, you may have an idea what that might involve. Yes, it's going to mean getting a job. One option. I'm not saying that that's what I'm going to do, but what was funny is that when my financial coach made the suggestion, we both laughed. And he thought I was laughing because I just wouldn't consider it. And the fact of the matter is, I want to work towards X goal. I want to invest in property. I need a mortgage to do that. I can wait a year and get my business up and running in Australia, build up some credit history, that kind of thing. And I'm sure there's other strategies of teaming up with people and that kind of thing. I understand all that. The quickest way I could get a mortgage right now is to get a job, is to become an employee again. And what's funny is that I am 100% okay with that. And the reason I say that is because, go back to day 1, I talked about fear on day 1 of this 90-day video challenge, and I stand by this, it's absolutely true. I think when you make a big decision, or you're facing a big decision and you're fearful of something, you really do genuinely have to make peace with the worst possible scenario in the event it doesn't go the way you're hoping. So when I decided to quit my job, I asked myself the question, what's the worst that can happen in this scenario if I quit my job? What's the worst that can happen? And one of the things was really get another job, which really wasn't that bad. And would I be prepared to clean toilets? Would I be prepared to work in McDonald's or in Starbucks, or something that most people would consider an entry-level job, or something that you do when you're younger or you're really not qualified to do anything else? And I genuinely made peace with that. And I actually think that's a huge reason that I then got the results, because I was completely okay with the worst case scenario. And unfortunately, there's a trend, particularly in my industry, or the industry that I'm in, with internet marketing, with business opportunities, whether it be online or offline. There's a bit of a trend of people going, being a little bit inauthentic about what it takes or what they've done to get where they're getting. And, I think the ego is a huge thing that you need to have under control. And so when I made the decision to quit my job, and would I be okay with having to go back to work 6 months later, working in Starbucks, doing whatever, I genuinely was okay with that. I didn't have a problem with it. It took a lot of work to get there. It took a lot of mindset work to get to that point. I've been doing the business on the side around my job for about 18 months, done a lot of personal development. And I see people coming into this business and into other businesses, whether it be online or offline, and it's all they do one of two things. They start lying about the fact that they've built a lifestyle doing their business, or they quit their job far too quickly before they've got any experience, and then they just say, you know, the worst that could possibly happen is that I would go back to work, and they say they're okay with it, but if it actually had to happen, they wouldn't be. And then they spiral out of control, they get themselves into debt, and it's all something that could be quite easily fixed by just getting a job, even if it is only temporary. My situation right now is slightly different in that getting a job is just a step towards getting what I want. So it's a choice, and it could be anything. I really would be willing to go and work in a coffee shop if it means that I can get those pay slips that I need to prove my income and then leave. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I don't think I'm going to go this route. I don't know. I might. I'm still thinking about it. I literally had this conversation a couple of hours ago. So the point I want to make is really be honest with yourself. If that was your circumstance, are you prepared to go back to work? Are you prepared to accept that you might quit your job and go, this is it, I'm going for it, but then circumstances arise whereby you have to go back to work? You know, is your ego in a position to handle that? Because it's taken a lot of work for me to say, yes, I would be okay with that. 6 months ago, I might not have been. And I hear a lot of people saying, I'm unemployable, I would never go back to work. And I know that, you know, I'm quite fortunate at the moment. I'm doing this when I don't have very many other responsibilities. I don't have any children. I don't have a partner to support. It's just me. So I can make slightly higher risk decisions and not be sort of responsible for as many outcomes and as many people that it might impact. It's a calculated risk. And I think it's really important that we keep that in mind, because you just don't know how things are going to go. And it's twofold. It's sort of being okay with your ego being in check enough to have to go back to work if that is your only option. But also, I think being okay with that means you're going to get the result you want anyway. So it's not going to happen. It's less likely to happen if you're okay with it. So it's like insurance. You know, your mindset, again, we're back to the mindset conversation. Your mindset is like your insurance policy in getting results. If you've got it in place and you've got your mindset in place, you're probably never going to have to deal with the worst case scenario. And in this instance, getting a job is a choice that I might well make to put myself in a position to get the result I want quicker. And there's all sorts of other topics that are coming up here in my head that I could use in future videos, which, you know, around things like the system that we live in, and the fact that if you know, the banks and the mortgage providers actually see me as a better bet to get a mortgage once I'm working in a job that will probably pay me about a quarter of what I'm paying myself in my business. It's completely backwards. That job could also make me redundant a week after I get $500,000 on a mortgage. So it makes no sense whatsoever. The system is ridiculous. We can discuss that in another video. The main point I want to make on this video is make sure your ego is genuinely in your gut. You are okay with the worst possible outcome. And if that worst possible outcome is, oh my God, I might have to get a job again one day, great. Then you're probably going to do a lot better than someone who inauthentically says, I've quit my job, or I'm going to quit my job, but on the inside they're quite frankly shitting themselves that they can't pay their rent next month, because it's just not a situation that they've set themselves up for sensibly. So I just wanted to share that, and I thought we could have some fun with it. I thought maybe in the comments below this video you could make some job recommendations for me. So this will be fun. I can't see at the moment because the sun's on my screen. That's a little bit egotistical. I thought we could have some fun. So if you're watching this video and you've hung around this long, maybe you could post in the comments some jobs you think I might be able to apply for. Within reason, keep it appropriate, and I will see you in day 6. Bye!